Hello.
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 Hi there.
So please turn on your camera. Hey, Alessia. Haven't seen you for a while.
Yes, it's been a long time.
Yeah, so good to see everybody's faces. I miss you all.
It has been
So long
quite a
time.
while.
Right. Hey, guys. Hey, Meredith, how's it going?
Fine.
Cool. Hey, Stefan.
Hello, guys. Hello, everybody.
Still having people come in. We have a lot of people. We're expecting a lot of people today.
Hello, Tamara.
Hello. Hey, Erin.
Hello.
We have a lot of people on Language Link accounts. I hope that no one is trying to teach classes.
Yeah, I
with those
don't
accounts.
know why. I don't know why it signed me into that because I wasn't signed in or anything.
Oh, that's weird. Oh well, no worries. Hey, Rebecca.
Hi.
Hello. Good to see everybody. All right. So I guess people will keep coming in, but while we wait for them, I guess we can get started a little bit. So first of all, everybody feeling great today?
It's Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
Great
means
every day.
something. Good. All right. What's the weather like in Volgograd?
Plus 29.
What?
Yeah, we're
My
excited.
gosh. Hey, David.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, David.
Well,
Oh,
In Moscow, it's cold and rainy today, so
That's too bad.
pretty nice. Yeah, I know.
well, it's not really cold. I just was just outside a few minutes ago. It's just like wet, yeah. But you probably don't need like a jacket or something. I don't know. Or maybe it's just me.
Could
Just
be.
you.
I'm pretty cold sitting in my house even.
Really?
Yeah. All right. So for the summer, things are going to be different. I'm sure that you got the email from Olga and you've read about the terms of working in the summer. So we're going to do our best to bring new clients in. Hi, Fabiana. And continue doing our summer programs online, even if we can't do them face-to-face. So we have a lot of summer programs to offer. Most of the stuff that we have to offer is what we had in previous years, like conversation courses for adults, for teens. We've got some like CLIL type activities for kids, some other stuff for kids. And we've got the Over the Garden Wall course, the cartoon course that we had in previous years. And additionally, we have a new course right now that is virtual field trips. We've already got one group for that. I'm not sure who's teaching it, but I think it's several teachers are going to be doing that. And that's really exciting and cool. We've worked hard on it and we're excited to see how it works out. We're also currently working on a book club for adults now using graded reading. So that could be in the future, depending on if we can get clients for it. So the conversation courses that we have right now have materials with them. Most of them are just like on a topic, on a theme. And it has activities that are related to that theme, discussion questions, that kind of thing, games and stuff that will obviously need to be adapted to being used online. And we're going to leave that to the teacher to do because you guys are experts on adapting paper materials to online stuff by now. And you have your own style, all of that stuff. We don't want to, we want you to be able to make it your own kind of. There's one conversation course that does include some grammar and vocabulary stuff. But those are really the only ones that have, like, if it's got in the teacher's notes, present this vocabulary, then you can do that. But for the most part, it's really just to get students talking. The main aim is to get them to talk student to student, and the teacher is basically there just to facilitate the conversation, to do error correction, to answer questions, not really to participate very much. Okay, so since this is a Q&A, I'll let you ask your Q's and I'll give you some A's. Who's first?
The past two conversation courses that I've been involved in, there was a fair amount of grammar. So are these, I'm just wondering if you know about, I mean, you sent Ashlyn and I the resources. So is it the same kind of thing?
It could be. I
It
don't
could
remember
be,
which course you did. Was it for teens or adults?
Adults.
Okay, then it was probably, let me share the screen with you. We can look at what we have available. So, it was probably one of these for adults. And some of these do have grammar included, and like the functional language courses for adults have new vocabulary because it's designed to like help students in certain situations. So there has to be something that's taught in them.
Okay.
But a lot of these don't have any grammar built into them. But if it's got grammar built into the trainer's notes, you can present it.
Awesome. I was just curious if it was the same thing.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Go on, Erin.
I guess I'm just wondering how strict they're going to be, the administration, with mixing levels.
Well, I mean, the aim is to have everybody be around the same level in the course. They're offered by levels. However, as we know, that can't always be guaranteed. And somebody who tests at the beginning of intermediate and someone who tests in the middle of intermediate might be in the same intermediate group. So there will still be mixed abilities within the groups, most likely. That's a great opportunity to practice conversation because you can have sometimes where the low levels and higher levels speak together, and sometimes where you speak to similar levels, and you can get different things out of each kind of interaction. Go on, Erin.
What's the minimum amount of people that need to sign up for a group for it to be launched or set up?
A good question. That all depends on the administrator. Typically, I guess 4 or more, 5 or more, probably for a group.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's a mini group, and the students pay more.
Any idea when we're going to start getting assignments?
We're gathering groups now. A lot of the regular course book kind of classes are coming to an end now, so that's when students are going to start signing up for those things. We've already started enrolling students for the first leg of the virtual field trips tour. So if you're going to be assigned one of those, it will be assigned very shortly. But as far as like when, I don't know. We're going to try to do like continuous enrollment throughout the summer to keep income coming in and keep teachers working.
Thank you, Doki.
Mm-hmm.
Would you suggest, because I did 2 teen summer courses already, and one student was in both. And then for the second half, he was with 2 new students. And it was just the 3 of them. And he sometimes would be kind of rude towards me. And I did my best to kind of like calm him down. But one of the other DOSs suggested giving him a warning, and if he doesn't follow it, mute him. But if the other 2 students aren't very like vocal about doing the exercises, it's like there's only 3 students. So is there any other option you would suggest? Or
Well, I mean, what kind of things is he doing in the class?
he would shout at me a few times and scream at me. It it was just kind of awkward. It was just like
Well,
if I was trying to, for example, if I was trying to get him to explain something instead of him just saying yes or no, it's like, can you tell me why? And he would shout, and yeah.
wow. Okay. I mean, try to encourage more student-to-student interaction. I think instead of you being involved in, I know there's only 3 students there, but like you can encourage him to talk to the other students there. And then like if the other students aren't talking, you can encourage them to talk a little bit more, but don't really encourage him very much because he's
and like it was easier, I think, with the first group because they did that, but with the second group, it was really like pulling teeth, and it's like ask each other, and sometimes they would, but the vast majority of the time they would just sit there in silence, preferably. It was a little difficult to, and like I know I can encourage them, but sometimes it can be a little too much,
I mean, like a little nudge in the right direction. Like, what do you think? Like, I think that's okay. Sometimes it's hard in a group of 3, I know, especially online, to get them to talk to each other because you can't really put them in a breakout room,
Yeah.
with 3 people.
I've got a question. It's not exactly related to conversation classes, but maybe someone here can help out. Any idea where I can get a good resource for sharing phonetic transcriptions of words? Like if we're dealing with vocabulary and something and someone wants like phonetics to be put onto the whiteboard.
Yeah, there's a website, ipatypeit.org.
Oh, cool.
Put it in the chat.
Thank you. Okay, that's my question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I also have a question. I just wanted to ask about the topics in the conversational course because some of the students have done this course like the previous year. So are we going to be having like new topics? Because if they're doing it again, then they might have to be doing the topics that they've already done.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any new materials except for the virtual field trips right now.
Okay. So
it's been hard to adapt with all of the, all of the stuff happening. So the DOSs have been very busy. We're happy to have one new thing.
Okay. All right. And how do I get the materials from? I suppose from the administrator or something?
Yeah, the administrator will tell you when you're assigned the course, they will tell you what course it is, and then they may give it to you, or you may need to email a DOS for the material.
Okay. All right. Because I have a class assigned already. So okay. I think I'm starting on Monday.
Have you asked for the materials?
Not yet.
Okay, I would recommend doing that straight away. Which course is it?
It's a conversational course for adults, B2 level.
Do you know which conversational course it is?
I saw the email actually this morning, but I can just quickly check.
Okay, or you can just write to me after we're finished, and I'll send you the right materials.
So I feel like you already mentioned it, but how long are the courses?
It depends. It really does. The virtual field trips, I can tell you right now, is 8 lessons, but we're working on expanding it some more. Some of them have 12 lessons in them, but you don't necessarily have to do all of them or do them in a certain order or anything like that. All of this, the students have an option, like if they want to continue after the lessons that they paid for have finished, if they want to keep going, we're going to let them keep going. So in that case, we'll need to get you some different materials or anything, but I mean, I can't really, I can't tell you exactly how many.
Okay, but they'll all be more than 3 weeks. There shouldn't be one less than.
I don't know, Erin.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Yeah. David, do you have a question?
Yeah, in previous years, it's been something that's happened is like the conversation courses get shared between teachers. If it's say like 3 times a week, one teacher might take Monday and Wednesday and another teacher on Friday and that kind of thing. Do you know if the same kind of thing will be happening or?
I don't.
Okay.
Like everything that is about administrative stuff, like scheduling, like who's doing what. Unfortunately, I'm not involved in, well, fortunately for me, I guess, I'm not involved in any of that stuff, so I can't really answer those questions. Mhm.
Myself and Ashlyn, we've been doing exactly that
Mhm.
with 2 different conversational courses. So
I don't know about new classes that are going to be assigned, if it's
I
going to
see.
be like that or what. We're trying to have work for all of our teachers, so there's a good possibility that you will share the responsibility just to spread the work around a little bit.
I have a bit of a question. I remember on our last meeting, you had discussed like Pear Deck and I think WordWall. Do you have any more like resources like that that you'd like to share with us? I thought that those were enormously useful.
Cool. Well, I mean, I don't have any new ones myself. Has anyone else found anything cool?
I have found something called Live Worksheets.
Ooh, what's that?
And interactive online worksheets. So there is a huge library made by teachers already of everything that you can possibly think of. And so I mean, if you have a lesson, you can send the link out to everyone and they can all work on it together, or I put them in groups and ask them to screen share with each other. And then they just fill in the answers. It's a lot easier than pen and paper when everyone's digital. And then so at the end they can check the answers. It doesn't show the right answers, but you should check it beforehand and figure out what the right answers are. But it's nice for homework as well, because there's an option to send to the teacher and they put your email address in, and then you are emailed their answers and then you can deal with that directly. So it's just liveworksheets.com. What? Let me just check that. Live Worksheets. That's my life source. It's been so useful. Liveworksheets.com.
Cool. Thanks, Erin.
You're welcome. And you can make your own, and it's really not that difficult.
Nice.
Okay.
Pro tip, thanks.
I've been using Roll20 for a couple of things. It's originally designed for like role-playing games, like online role-playing games, like, you know, Dungeons and Dragons or something. But with like a bit of modification, I've used it as like a playing board where you just lay down like the actual board and you give the students control of their little piece. You can even do like customized like tokens that they use and move around. It's got a built-in dice roller.
Oh, for board games.
Yeah.
That's so
I
nifty.
did it
Roll
as like the
20.net.
end of course, like final quiz kind of thing for one of my business groups. We went on to Roll20 and like I used like a separate like a program to make tokens with their faces on it so they could move them around. They were so excited.
That's cute. I didn't think of using that for board games. It's cool.
Yeah, it worked really well, because one of the things that was nice is you can, as if you're like controlling the game, you've got these different layers of like what the players can see. So you can hide things, and then I did that to hide like the questions that they have to answer when they land on, you know, like a specific place on the board. And the question is already there, and you just change the layer that the question is on, and then suddenly, bam, they can see the question. And then after they've answered it, you can just make it vanish again. The original system, it was designed so that there's like place for like, you know, your character's health and statistics and stuff. And I just changed it to reflect the points that they're making. So it was like constantly, whenever they click on their token, it shows up, these are how many points they've made so far. And they loved it. They thought it was absolutely like one of the most exciting things they've done since they were like forced to live in their home all the time.
That's really, really helpful, because I've been struggling with board games.
Yeah. It took a little while to set it up. You need to like make the board in like a Word document kind of thing, and then save it as an image file and then import it. It took a little bit of setting up, but once you got an idea of how the system works, how the platform works, it was actually really, really quick. Each part was just bam, 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 and then it paid off really, really effectively. It was so, like, they really enjoyed it.
The students have to make accounts on Roll20 for that, right?
Yes, you have to make an account, you have to sign up, but just as a player, it's completely free, and there's no download or anything. You just sign up as an account. And then as the person who's controlling it, you just send them a link to the game, and they show up, and then once they're there, if you want them to access their tokens and stuff, you just have to like set it up in the system itself. So I mean, it's a couple of steps involved. It's not as simple as probably a lot of other platforms, but the functionality and the variety of it is pretty neat.
Cool.
Any
I
other
will.
questions?
Definitely try that. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There are lots of
It's-
tutorials too, like video tutorials for how to use it. I mean, when I first looked at it, it was a little bit daunting to me, but like
Yes.
it's not as difficult as it looks.
Yeah, it's like one step of just like getting into the mindset of this is how this system works. It's like anything, you know, it's like the first 2 or 3 steps are pretty complicated, but then it's a lot easier because everything works the same way. And yeah, I mean, if you want to get into like role-playing games or that kind of thing, just to, you know, pass your free time when you can't leave your home, it's a really good platform as well.
Right. Any other questions, guys? No other questions. Okay. Well, I guess I'll pose a question to you guys, and you can tell me what you would do in this situation. So you have been given all of these materials with games and activities and stuff to make people talk. You're expecting 5 or 6 students to show up, but only 1 student shows up. What do you do?
Exactly the same that I wanted to do with 5 or 6.
Exactly the same.
Yeah, you become the other half of the pair.
Right, exactly. So you can still run the conversation course with just 1 student. It's not ideal, obviously, because the goal of this is student-to-student communication. But you can do it with just 1 person. Okay.
This might be a stupid question, sorry. We don't set homework for it, do we?
No, absolutely not.
No such thing as a stupid question.
That's right.
Okay, so I still feel like I haven't been answered because let's say I have a student that has already done the course. What do I do? Like, do I
I'm sorry.
teach them the same thing?
Well, I mean, if you just have 1 student in there who's already done the course, we don't have a lot of extra materials. So, I mean, at that point, you might want to say to your administrator, look, the student has already done this course. Is there a different one that he could join? Something like that. Or he could just join it again, and because every experience is going to be slightly different, because even if you're doing the same topics and stuff, you're talking to different people. It's not like you're doing exactly the same thing every time.
Yeah, that was the last group I had. One of the students carried over to the second combo group, so I had the same thought of, well, I can't use the exact same materials I just used for the class he was just in. So John actually gave me a few links to get some other material from, or to get other ideas from. So I can link those below if I guess people would like, just in case.
Sure, that would be helpful.
Everyone
with these topics, like we provide you with materials, but that's by no means like the limit to what you can do. You can absolutely, if you know of a good activity that's level appropriate and on that theme, you can absolutely bring it and do it. You don't have to do everything that's in there either. Like if you do 1 activity from there and the students love it and it goes for the entire time, that's fine.
Something to add, with the conversation courses I did, I was lucky to have 4 people, and when they were doing their activities, I was going back and forth. You know, you really, especially with the lag and the delay talking online, it's very unpleasant to interrupt or try and error correct. Because it's so much trickier, but I find they really appreciated it when I messaged them directly. as they were speaking, because then I could see they would look and they would then think about it and talk about it.
I think that's a good idea for error correction. These are fluency activities though, so we don't want to interrupt fluency for error correction for the most part. You can do that sort of like other methods like questioning, echo correction, that kind of thing while they're talking to you, like as you're doing feedback for the activity. But I would say do delayed error correction for the most part, because this is trying to develop fluency, and accuracy is kind of like a secondary goal. Good. Any other questions? So we want to utilize breakout rooms a lot for the student-to-student communication. And something to keep in mind with the breakout rooms is that you still need to have some times when everybody is together as a group. So you should still have some group discussions maybe. You should definitely have feedback after every activity. Feedback that includes like, what did your partner say? What do you think? Do you agree? That kind of stuff. And then some delayed error correction. And then when you go to another activity, switch up the pairs so that they're not always talking to the same person.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes you can vary the group sizes. Like you can have little groups of 3 or little groups of 4, depending on how big your group in general is. But obviously, if you have less than 4 students, it's not going to be possible to do a breakout room. And in that case, there's really no situation where the teacher should be a partner to a student, because the teacher is there to support and facilitate more than to participate. So keep that in mind. So what do you do if you've got a group of students who are here for a conversation course and they don't want to talk? What would you do?
Keep
This is,
asking them questions.
You just said that, well, you said earlier that we should never put them as a 3, for example, in a breakout room. And I had a Prepare 6 group that would just not speak. And so I did put them in a breakout room, the 3 of them, and dropped in and out, and then they all fed back to me, and they actually spoke when I wasn't there.
Okay.
Fluently.
How do you know that they spoke while you weren't there?
I kept dropping in, like at random intervals, and then they all fed back. And it's just, even with a group of adults in a classroom, when there are 3 adults in a classroom, getting any sort of natural discussion flowing is really, really, really difficult. But especially with the teenagers, they would just not speak. And so putting them in a breakout room where I wasn't there actually worked. And for the last few, I don't think this will apply to conversation course, but for the last few lessons, there were projects in which they sort of had to work together to come up with some sort of presentation, then present it back to me. And obviously, like, I removed myself from the room so that I wasn't kind of watching and it was going to be a surprise. But that was literally the only way I managed to force people that did not want to talk.
That's actually a good idea. I hadn't thought of that. So that's something to try, I suppose, if you've got a group of 3 that won't talk. Definitely.
Take yourself away, and then and then it flows.
Cool idea. I like it. What else? What can you do if they won't talk to each other, or if they only want to speak Russian to each other?
I did have this. It was quite unpleasant because it was A2, so they really don't have too much to say, but of the little they could say, they didn't. But there was one girl who was quite talkative, and another man who was just it was ridiculous. He didn't want to talk, but Ashlyn had them before me, and he warned me about this guy, so I knew. And I would call his name a few times, and sometimes he would respond. And if I asked him directly to ask a question or repeat a structure or tell me what he thinks, he probably 1 out of 3 times he did.
Okay. So he would even ignore you when you called on him.
It's weird because he was very quiet, but I could see his thing light up. The square would light up. So he was doing something around there. And sometimes he was just dead silent, but he seemed to just want to listen to someone else talk. So it was quite hard on the female. but she was very active. Like she was trying to ask questions and talk about and give her opinions. But with him, I just had to keep asking with a good attitude.
That's basically it. You just have to find opportunities for them to talk. Sometimes a student that's quiet like that will respond better if they're in a pair. So like it's just the two students together, they don't have much choice but to talk to each other or to stare at each other. So I feel like though most adult students who sign up for a conversation course are there because they want speaking practice. And if they're not speaking in a class that's about speaking practice, I mean, if it's a real problem, you can speak to your administrator so that the administrator can talk to the student, like, what do you want to get out of this course, etc. But I mean, for teenagers, a lot of times they don't have a choice, so you have to find ways to engage them, like find something that they're interested in to talk about, or just continue to call on them. David,
I think, yeah, for like especially the lower level groups, like, you know, like if you have like an A2 group or whatever, it's entirely possible that they don't even know what they're supposed to be saying. If you just say, here you go, here's like a bunch of topics in your pairs, talk about this. They're like, I'm not really sure how to do this correctly. So, I mean, just giving them a bit more framing, you know, make sure that they have access to the vocabulary or the structures and, you know, even like the fixed expressions or functional exponents that they can use to frame those like dozen words that they do know into something that seems like a relevant answer. Just like give them a bit more help maybe. But that's only really applicable to the lower levels, I think.
And for the lower level conversation courses, the activities that we have are a lot more structured. So they're not having to invent, like talk for 15 minutes about the economy, something like that, you know what I mean? But they should have more structured tasks at that level. So opportunities.
Just a shot in the dark here. In a week, at this point, do you have any idea of how many groups we could expect? Maybe
I wish I did. I really do, but I do not know. I'm sorry.
If there is a situation where there aren't enough groups, would you ever ask teachers, give them the option to go on unpaid leave?
No, because we're still paying for your flat. If you move out of your flat, possibly, but I can't address that because I'm part of the academic department. Unfortunately, not able to answer questions about contracts and things like that. David, did you have a question? David Jovanovich?
No, I'm sorry. I have to go because I have a lesson shortly.
Okay, well, good luck with your lesson. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Lovely seeing
Good
everybody.
to see you.
See you soon. Okay, cheery, bye.
Bye. All right, cool. So, any other questions about conversation courses? All right then. Well, I will. One more.
I have one more question, just because I have a few students who keep asking about going back to school, but it's not what you think. Is it like, I know Olga in her message said that if possible we would return back to school. If there was a group and not everyone was able or willing to return to the public, would the default be to just continue online?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
Just curious about that.
Is it possible to like change, to reschedule the time that you are assigned to teach the lesson?
No.
So a more convenient time or something like that?
No, the schedule is done based on client need. And if you have room in your schedule for it, that's where it will be put. And at this point, I mean, we are incredibly lucky to still be working, honestly. Lots of schools in Moscow are struggling way worse than we are. And losing teachers, losing clients, and we need to do everything that we can to support our company at this time, because like if we don't have students, we don't have jobs. A lot of us don't have homes in Moscow. We don't have visas. What do we do? So we need to do everything that we can to support, even if it's inconvenient, unfortunately.
Okay.
Do you know if there are any groups who are returning to like on-site lessons?
Not at this time, no.
Okay.
Right now, we haven't been given the okay from the government to open yet at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Schools aren't included in those businesses that are starting to reopen.
I mean, I would say it's probably pretty logical or fair to assume that at least for the majority of the summer, like we'll be continuing online.
Yep, that's what we're thinking.
Yeah, if we can do our job
extended.
Yeah, if we can do our job from home, there's no reason for us to be going out. I mean, it'd be nice to, but it's not like necessary for us to do our job.
Yeah. And I've done a lot of observations. We've observed almost every single language link teacher now. And I've been very impressed with a lot of the things that I'm seeing, like so much creativity and so much fun and like cool uses of online resources and stuff. It makes me very proud of our teaching force that we were able to so quickly get together some really quality lessons.
Is there a possibility to like create my like a different group and stuff, like conversational, maybe like playing games, because I know also my students love playing games and they want to play with me, and probably maybe if we could make this into like a group or something, and maybe like,
we're open to all kinds of suggestions. So I would say if you think you have enough students to make something like that, you should say something to your administrator. You can copy me on it as well, because like if we can get your students to continue studying in the summer, we would love to.
Okay. Yeah, like this, like especially Minecraft. Like I have a few students that like to teach me a few things on Minecraft, and it's really good for their speaking because they like spend so much time like just to try and explain some things to me, and they have to do it in English, and that so that it might be like there might be an opportunity there, you know, and especially there's a lot of games, so probably there might be even like a different game every day, and people would join to like games that they prefer, something like that, especially preteen.
You mean like computer games? Yeah.
Computer games, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I like that idea a lot. It's just a question of whether or not like parents would be into something like that. So I'd say definitely if anybody has an idea about summer programs, write to your administrator, copy me on that so that we can discuss it more seriously, because we're open to a lot of new ideas right now.
Cluedo could be so much fun. I wonder if there's an online platform.
There's like
Cluedo.
a board game.
Detective board game, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was this person in this room with the spanner.
Yeah, I know. Like, is it Professor Plum with the pipe wrench in the study?
Yeah, yes, it was so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's some programs that are
that.
like board game simulators that might work with.
I'll ask, see if my students are interested.
I mean, there's a big difference between like my students want to and Language Link can, though.
Yeah.
So like, don't invite your students to do this thing.
Yes.
Because there's all kinds of complicated stuff with making new courses that I frankly don't understand. But things like pricing, like we can't price certain things because of this or that, like.
Probably like copyright or trademark issues sometimes.
I mean,
licensing and that kind of thing, maybe.
I think that it's more internal Language Link stuff than anything, like how to price it, how to market it, how to sell it, how to list it in our programs, etc. So send the ideas to us before you present them to your students.
Of course.
So it can't be just like, maybe if let's say I'm having this games with my students and it's only just me, so if I have to present this idea, it will be like distributed to all the teachers and we'll have to do this or something.
Not necessarily, but we still have to create a product.
Okay.
So I mean, even if there are no materials for it, we still have to create something that can be listed as a product and sold to students.
Quiz night.
All right, I was thinking about that, like pub quiz every week. That'd be awesome. I'm not sure how to organize it though, because like normally you do pub quiz in teams, you know, and you can't really like talk to each other. So if you can think of anything, that's cool.
Supposed it's a bit complicated, but there's always a way.
Might be some sort of like another platform, like a Zoom or Skype type thing, you know, where you can see everyone in the whole team or the whole like group like this, but you know, like select like say 3 different users and they can only hear each other or they can only communicate with each other or something like that.
I know some platforms like that, but that was a cool idea.
My friends have been doing international quiz nights on Discord.
Nice.
Yeah, Discord. I wanted to say that like it's like a platform for gamers. Yeah. So what about like the teachers in general? Like I think it would be nice to, I don't know, like maybe once or a week or something like that, just to have like I don't know, team spirit building kind of like thing online where we can play some games amongst the teachers or something like that.
I like that idea a lot. Like I honestly super miss seeing all your faces. It would be nice to have some
Very
kind of
surreal.
like, social activity. No. I mean, if you want to organize a social activity for the teachers, by all means.
A party, online party.
Yeah, I already had 2 of my brother's friends on Zoom. It was really fun.
If you want to organize something, I'm happy to send out a mass email to all the teachers for you if you want to invite everybody. Just tell me all the details and I'll invite them.
Okay, yeah, I already have like a few. Like I don't know if you know Catan, like Catan University. It's like
Settlers of Catan.
Settlers of Catan, yeah. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, that's all for me. I think I don't have anything to say.
If anybody thinks of any more questions about conversation courses, about summer academic things, I'll do my best to answer them through email. For a lot of the administrative things, obviously I'm not the best person to speak to, but to be quite honest with you, there's a lot of uncertainty at the moment about how things are going to work in the future. We just sort of have to take it, you know, day by day, week by week. But we will keep you up to date with everything that we know as soon as we know it and have confirmed things.
Okay.
Can I ask a question about tests? It's not about organization, of course.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks. Can I send quick test to my group or via Zoom?
What do you mean by a quick test?
Because you texted us about that we shouldn't use tests. And as for final test, we should ask for each group. But as for quick test, is it possible to send a copy of one test?
I don't know what you mean by a quick test.
No, I have groups which I'll continue during summer. And after new English file, we've got quick test after each unit.
You mean like
the unit test?
The unit test or like the check?
Yeah, unit test. Yeah, it's called quick test just.
Okay, we don't use those.
Is it possible if I send them a copy? Is it possible?
They can do it for homework, but it won't count for their test score. You can still give tests for adults. Please give tests for adults. But,
yeah, as a homework. Yeah.
Right, but use the language link tests for them. Don't use the ones that come with the textbook.
Yeah. Okay, I
and
think
do we have tests for each unit?
Not for each unit, but for every 2 units. So there's a 1 and 2 test, a 3 and 4 test.
I was under the impression we had to give these tests.
You have to give end of course tests for
course, but like
yes,
every second unit in an English file book.
Yes, you have to.
Okay, because you said by all means, and I was like, oh, but I've been doing this, and like they've been emailing them back. I was just under the impression that we had to give tests.
I mean, like I still give tests, but as homework, as long as they're like not.
Oh yeah, for sure, as homework. Like, and then they email them to me. But I'm just confused because I feel like we've heard a lot of different things about tests.
Really, there's only two things about tests. You don't have to give tests. You shouldn't give tests to teenagers or young learners unless it's the end of course test, and then we need to in order to give them a score. For adults, don't give them in class. Give them for homework.
Yep, understood.
That's it. Those are the two things about tests.
I think to answer Yana's question, she wanted to know if we can be able to send it on Zoom. I think
You can
yes,
send
like
files
on
through
the
Zoom.
chat. We can send it.
Yeah.
You can send files through Zoom, but the quick tests are not going to count for any score. You can just do it as like a normal like revision kind of quiz thing. That's
Yeah,
cool.
because it's they are adults and they need result. So.
But I mean, you can give them the normal unit test every 2 units. So the unit 1 and 2 test, and that will be their results.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Not really. I mean, with the prepare groups, and they're anticipating the report cards. Is it a given that they can only get their report cards back after they've sent through the tests?
Can't give them a report card without a grade to report.
So, but that, I mean, we'll definitely not have to be expected to send a report if they don't send through the test.
I'm not sure. I don't really understand what you mean.
I think you do, because you answered it right and I just kept asking. So I do. Sorry. Yeah, I understand. There's no need to
sending them a test, like sending them a report card to say they did not do the final test, so they get an NA result. But that would just be silly.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. If your student isn't turning in their test, tell your administrator so that they can tell the parents. Because the parents should be the ones that are kind of like administering the test anyway. So it could be that the parents just haven't done it, or they just haven't sent it, or whatever, but the parents should be notified by the administrator.
It hasn't happened yet. I'm just thinking about the future.
It's wise to think ahead.
I have to go. I have a lesson at 4:30. I need to do a little bit of prep.
Have a good lesson, guys.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else have any questions?
Thank you.
Nope. Okay, good. Thanks for coming. See you later.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.